Okay, great. So, good evening, everyone. And my name is Dr. Ajay Kumar, and I am Executive Director of SARA Institute of Data Science. And today it's my pleasure to have with us Chef Kenneth Minor, and by love, I call him Mr. Ken, and you can also call him Mr. Ken. So it's our pleasure today. We have Mr. Ken with us, and we are going to hear him about a very important topic, and it's about the mental health and awareness about the mental health. And today's topic is recognizing the signs of stress. And it is especially important as a student to recognize stress. And so first, I will share about Mr. Kane. So Mr. Kane, by profession, he is a chef, and his expertise, we can also see that he has written two books about the cooking, so that we can improve our well-being and our health, because our health and well-being are directly related to the level of stress, right? And then he became quite popular in US as well as abroad, and he was invited to several TV shows in USA. And seeing that, he was also invited as a TEDx speaker, and he has also worked with several international brands like PayPal or maybe like Capital, and several eBay, like big brands, where he helped them to improve their wellness and to understand the importance of mental health. And being doing his professional duty, he also work as an educator for the community, where people help to educate themselves about the mental health and a good well-being. And there is how, when I approached to Mr. Ken, that we would like to invite you for a talk, and please help our student and our team to understand stress and how to recognize stress, and make us aware how to deal with it, and first of all how to find it. So with these words, on behalf of SARA team and of the students, I would like to invite Chef Kenneth Minor, and please, sir, start your presentation.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for that warm welcome. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here, Dr. Ajay and the SARA Institute of Data Science. When I got your email, I was definitely taken in. You're in India, correct? And so I was just like, I just want to set the intention because one of the things I have on my um, page on LinkedIn, I said that I wanted to create a more connected wellness community. And at first, I was going to take that down because I thought that was too big. You know what I mean? You ever have a dream and a vision you think is too big? I thought it was too big. And they say you should say something about what you're going to do for the client and what you're going to do. They should know what you do. And I'm more of the mindset that it should be something that you believe, something that you believe that's a higher purpose for what you want to do, and you will attract the people to your mission based on what you believe, not just what you say you want to do and what you want to be. And here we go. I'm here with you today. And so I'm so grateful for all of that today. I know that the title is Recognizing Stress, recognizing the signs of stress. I added just a little blur, stress on the streets, how environment shapes our wellness. That is what I'm going to be talking to. Because oftentimes when we're out and about in the streets, we don't realize how much of the outside we bring home. And home in this particular instance is the actual place and where you live, but the home that's in our bodies. And so today I want to talk a little bit about that. And thank you. A little bit about me. Yes, I'm a health coach, I'm a wellness coach, but most of all, I am a lover of food. So I'll share with you what my belief is about food and how it guides my wellness. So I believe that when nutrient rich food is at the center of my thoughts and my actions, life is better. I'll say it one more time. I believe that when nutrient rich foods are at the center of my thoughts and my actions, life is better. And I always share that because I think when we think about food, which is really my wheelhouse there. When we think about food, it's often about what we have a taste for. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, today I feel like chicken. Or today I feel like rice. Or today I want something sweet. But not often do we put ourselves in the mindset of what does my body need to be optimal. And so that's always in my mind, nutrient rich foods that feed me for life. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit about life today. I have a lot of these stickies, y'all know, with these, we call Post-its here. I'm sure it's the same there. And I have them all on my mirror in my bathroom because I believe that when we set little quotes and little affirmations, that they can help us have a picture of what we believe and goals that we want to set ourselves to. So it was odd today because I'm part of this team that sends, I'm part of this thread where we send each other morning affirmations. So can I share the affirmation that came today? I don't think it's by chance that this one came today. I'm gonna share it with you. It said, "Today I open my eyes to a brilliant new day of light and love. I focus on my highest good in everything that I do. I will maintain peace and harmony within my inner being and not allow outside circumstances to disturb my happiness. I honor my sacrifice, my sacred life, and I am grateful for all that I have." Gratefulness. I'm going to approach this. Of course, there is scientific, and you all are learning. You're in school. You're there trying to better yourselves, right? To put yourself in a position of success. And you can write this down. I share this in every time that I talk because sometimes when it comes to success, we often have somebody else's opinion about what success is before we talk about stress. So I call it PR. I want you to write this down. Success is PR. It is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. It's not about a boat and a car and a big house. It can be that's the fruits of the labor. But I want to hear the basic things. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. What do you find worthy in your life? He said, "Well, I don't have a lot of worthiness, Chef. It's like my house is crowded. It's a big commute trying to get to school. I'm stressed out with having food to eat. I'm stressed out about money. I'm stressed in my body and all of the things that happen to me just to get to school, just to show up, just to be, right?" But when you take an idea about what success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. So the worthy goal here in this particular instance is, what do you believe is possible for your life? That's my first question. What do you believe is possible for your life? And you can write that down. Now I'm going to toot my own horn for a little bit here. Starting out as a wellness coach, and I don't know what your dreams are, you can definitely email me and put it in the chat what some of your worthy goals or your ideals are. But for me, during COVID, which was a very stressful time all around the world, yes, I am a person who lives alone. Maybe some of you were at home and you had family. Maybe some people got sick. Maybe some people didn't. But that worldwide level of stress, I don't believe we've ever felt as well, at least during my lifetime, as a collective level of stress. Worried about money, being sick in our bodies, family members getting sick, or I put it like this, the loss of hope, right? So if you were in school and all of a sudden you had to stop going to school, or maybe you took it online, or you even stopped it for a moment because you had to deal with life. So how do you deal with those levels? What are those signs about it? So I want to be clear about what stress is. So I want to read this statement about the stresses of life. Stress is a natural human response to challenges and demanding situations. It can cause mental tension and worry, It can be triggered by events or thoughts that evoke feelings of anger, nervousness, frustration, and short bursts, right? Some of you may have heard of good stress. Um, there's some signs behind good stress, things that we find passionate about. I don't believe in good stress, right? Something that I believe in is something I want to do. I do take my best, is about taking your best self to the situation, right? But we never talk about it. And maybe this, you can talk about it, doctor. It isn't maybe scientific, but I do believe that there are good stresses in the sense of when you are in your realm as a student, as you learn, as you move through the job market, there's just certain levels of stresses that come with being more. Say that with me, being more. We don't talk about it enough. We have all of these social media saying, get up 7 o'clock in the morning. I run 10 miles a day. I eat nutrients. Then I sit down. I do 10 emails. I read 2 books 10 pages of a book each day. Yeah, that sounds good as a practice. But even that comes with a level of stress. Yes. And so, how do we deal with that? I am grateful for the level of opportunities that I have, but it does come with a level of stress. For me, sharing with you, I have a TV show coming out September 22nd. I have a new book called A Soulful Journey to Healthy Eating coming out in September. And I have a partnership with a meal service. That means they deliver my recipes to people all over the United States. That's a partnership that I have with Cook Unity. That's a lot, y'all. That's a lot for me. I appreciate that. That is a lot. I never envisioned that for my life. Basically, my people who went to culinary school, and this is about following your own dreams. I think our dream was just to work in a restaurant, to be a head chef at a Michelin star restaurant, at a fancy restaurant. That was the vision. So when I put myself in the position, as you often will, that I want more, I want to be on TV, I want to write books, I want to have my food be shared all over the United States. There comes a level of stress with that. But that's why I told you I want you to keep in mind what success is. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. You have to know where that is in your spirit and in your heart. I say that I want to go to school. I want to learn. I want to better myself and my family. Yes. And my financial situation. Oh, we'll get in finance. Just hold on a little bit because money is a whole thing in and within itself. But I want you to start to notice, as I said, we're going to talk about stress on the streets and your environment. I live in a busy city here in New York City. If you visit New York City, you understand, I'm sure you're there. In India, the streets are busy, bustling with people just as a practice. That's just what it is, right? And because we've grown up, I've been in New York 22 years. So, and you've been there most of your lives, or maybe you have moved there. And there is a level of stress for me just walking out the door, right? Navigating 7 million people in the city of New York alone, 7 million people. Then taking myself on the subway, packing myself in a subway, not sitting, stressed trying to get anywhere I'm going. That we're talking about 3 or 4 million people moving through the subway system every morning, every day. All the personalities that come with that energy, right? All the I use this, all the I don't like the word crazy, but let's just say people who are not thinking as clearly as you and I may. And then attitudes and energy, trying to navigate people who don't want to be touched. I'm in a subway. They don't even want to be touched. Like, you shouldn't be riding the subway. Don't touch me. And there's a lot of mental health issues here in New York City. And it may share some of that with you. But I know this. I'm not going to let anybody take my center away. You know what I mean? But we do have to manage those stresses. So I want you to start thinking about, how does it feel when you're in these noisy streets of your own life? How does your mood change? Yes. How does your mood change? Or by the time you get to school through your commute, are you stressed? Do you need a minute to even sit down in the classroom and have nobody talk to you for a moment? Find your seat in the chair. at the desk and just kind of zone out. That is the first thing I want to share with you. Our environment is not just background, it's shaping our stress levels in real time, right? You can set out the day and I'm like, boop, 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 I'm in a good mood today. I got my homework done. I fed my dog. I ate my food. I'm about to get to school. And now you got a fight on the street. People arguing over groceries and throwing stuff, anger, energy. You have to create your own ecosystem. Everybody say ecosystem. You have to create your own ecosystem around you. For me, I start my day out with meditation music. That's just my thing. And sometimes I take it on the street with me. Between my house and getting to the subway, it's about 15 minutes. That's a 15-minute walk for me. So I listen to meditation music just to kind of clear my mind. I don't want to hear words of a song. That's just for me, because I don't want to take in somebody's interpretation of something at that moment. I want to hear my own thoughts, my own prayers, and my own intentions that I set for the day. That's what you do. You set your own intention for each day. You may not always do it, and it may not always be perfect, but you have to set an intention, right? So awareness for me is the first step to managing stress. Figure out what your triggers are, and you can choose the appropriate response, right? So if crowds are triggered for me, which they are, I'm gonna give you an example. When I'm at the gym, I do not go to the gym at 5 o'clock p.m. That's all the people there coming from work, and it's really crowded. People don't share the machine. It's crowd, you know what I mean? They stay on the machine 20, 30 minutes. It drives me crazy. So what I do is that I go to the gym at 5 a.m. in the morning. And people's like, oh my God, I can't get to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, one of the things that it just isn't a decision to get to the gym at 5. It's the intention that I set the night before by going to bed at 9 a.m. or 10 o'clock at the latest, setting my gym clothes out, setting my food up first. So you see what I'm doing? I'm creating an ecosystem to handle the level of stress. And the appropriate response for me to deal with not a crowded gym is to get there at 5 o'clock where there are less people. I can take my time on the machine. The Stairmaster is available, all this gym. So that's just one example of seeing what the situation is that stresses you out. So for you, it may be going to the grocery store, for example, if it's an open market. And it's midday, it's busy in the market, right? But if you go early in the morning and get your vegetables, that may be a way that you can reduce if you're a person who don't like to be around a lot of stress, right? Getting to school, could you get there an hour earlier? Is the commute a little better at a certain time for you to get there early in the morning, right? Those are one of the things. Eating meals, right? Because nutrition, and I'll get into it a little bit because wellness and nutrition and stress are definitely connected. And we'll talk about that. But what are the practices? Start thinking about it. What are the managing steps that I can take to stress? Let's take work, for example. I told you all the projects that I'm working on, right? I noticed when I try to multitask and handle a little bit of working on the cookbook, then I try to talk to the producers and work on the TV show with the editing. Then I'm also talking to my partners about the food and da. When I try to do that all at one time, because I used to do that, break myself up in 3 days and 3 stages in a day, I didn't get anything done as much as I thought I was. So now I choose one thing each day to get done. And when you do that, by Friday, you'll sit back and you're like, wow, I really got more done today than I thought, right? So have some non-negotiables. And I do a paper sort of like this, and I do to-do lists. I have non-negotiable. The gym is non-negotiable. I'm going to work out. You got to move your body every day. That's your non-negotiable. Even if it's a walk in the park or in your neighborhood, it has to be a non-negotiable. Not something I do when I get stressed, but something that you do before to manage stress. So gym is non-negotiable for me. In the morning, I'm usually going to drink a smoothie. The first thing you drink, if you're able to do a smoothie, for me, and for you, it could be nuts, it could be fruits, it can be what it is. But non-negotiable is feeding myself a nutrient smoothie, usually a green smoothie, spinach, a green apple, almond milk, cinnamon, lemon juice, and some protein powder. That is my non negotiable. The first thing in my body should be something that feeds my body. You notice I didn't say what I have a taste for. What I have a taste for is bacon, eggs, home fries, pancakes. That's what I have a taste for almost every morning. I didn't say what I have a taste for. It's what does my body need to be optimal. So for you, it may be a cup of water, a handful of nuts, and papaya or fruit breakdown. That's your non-negotiable. Exercise, feeding yourself something nutrient, non-negotiable. Now, the next thing can be what I do is I usually read 10 pages of a book. That could be your homework. That can be research for your homework. Let me take a pen here, Doc. When I was in culinary school, I realized that the teachers were teaching me good stuff, good principles about food and everything. But I also had to have outside literature or outside books to fill in the gap because they only have so much time or a certain curriculum. What I mean by that is if I'm a chef, then I should be reading a book about chefs. They didn't give me that assignment. They didn't tell me that book. I had my school books and my assignments, but I also went out and got a book. And the book, y'all, it should be in line, remember, progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. So whatever your ideal is for your life, you really should be reading a book towards that ideal. If you want to be a financial data person, if you want to work in an office, if you want to be in HR, if you want to do anything in technology that you're doing, you should be reading a book in addition to what you're learning at school. So you got to, again, creating an ecosystem for your mind, for your body, for your soul. Okay? We good? Everybody good so far? All right. So we're going to do about that. So recognizing stress, certain things are out of our control. Again, I'm in New York City. I can't deal with at 5:15 from 4:30 to 5:15. It's quiet. It's quiet in my neighborhood. Those are times I sit at my desk and I meditate. And I'm not lying. At 5:15 every day, the noise starts. The bus is a bus stop in front of in front of my apartment. Beep, beep, beep. I'm hearing people get on. Hold the bus, hold the bus. The stores, we call them bodegas, but the corner stores start waking up. You can hear them. You can smell bacon in the environment. Everything is filling up. People getting ready for the day. People start talking. It's getting loud. The students who need to be at school at 7 o'clock. So it started getting busy from 5:15 on. So I say that in a sense that we can't really manage certain things. That's just life. It's the cost of being in life when we're out there on the streets. But I want you to notice when you are going out to school, when you're going out to work, how your body feels. Remember, awareness is the first step to understanding stress. So I had a job that every time I went to it, that just before I opened the door, I got a stomach ache. And I didn't know what that was. I thought it was maybe the coffee not agreeing with me first thing in the morning because of the cream. But every time I went to this particular job, I was a medical bill coder. I was a coder. And every time I went there, my stomach would hurt. And then it would take me about an hour for me to settle down in my stomach at work. That was my body letting me know I didn't need to be at that job. And you're like, I know, Chef Kenny, I feel that sometimes I get headaches. My stomach hurt. My shoulders get tense. I'm real short with people because I don't like this job, but I have to work. So I didn't say quit the job. What I say is just notice every time you go into this place, there's a level of stress. So a quick fix for me was I'm a simple guy. So if something is stressing me out, I try to fill it with its opposing opposite. So before I went to work, I would play gospel music. That's like spiritual soul music from the Black church in my environment. So I would, as they say here, I filled myself with praise before I went through that door, right? Because I needed the money, I needed the job, I needed to do it. And even more so on my job because I was a coder. I was a medical coder for like 10 years. I'm a certified medical bill coder. And I was doing that for a good time and made good money doing so, but it wasn't my passion per se, right? What I'm doing kind of now is my passion. But we all got to get there. So give yourself some grace. We all got to get there, all right? So for me, having the church music reminded me of home. It connected me to my roots. It created a safe space in my body for joy. And then when I walked in the office, though the situation, come on here, somebody, though the situation didn't change at the job and the stress level and my not wanting to be there, but I changed my attitude about being in the space. Does that make sense? All right. So simple tools, music, food, meditation, we're already doing it. I promise you it is there. So just notice that your shoulders, I started to have shoulder pains because I was stressed. It can feel like there's a weight on you. Everybody ever felt like that? There's a weight on your shoulders and the back. I'm going to take a beat here because for me, and maybe you're the first one in your family to go for higher education. Just take a beat here. I was. And there was this level of pressure when I was in college to finish, to make money, to buy my mother a house, to set the family straight, to bring my finances into my family's financial situation. And I couldn't change that, but I could change my feelings about it. You are not responsible for, well, I want to be careful here. You are responsible for you first. Okay, you are responsible for showing up in school. You're responsible for learning the material. You are responsible for figuring out the next steps. And you don't have to know everything, but the next steps. That extra layer of pressure can feel very heavy on your spirit. Having to bring money home so we can eat, having to bring home money because of a sick parent, right? And all those resources. Yes, you can be a helper to your family, but you actually have to take care of you first and fill yourself up first before you can give it to other people. That's what I want to say, right? So you going to school, I know you may say things like, oh, school is hard. Everybody's depending on me. This is too much pressure. That pressure you're putting on is you. You're putting that pressure on yourself. You say, no, my family is saying this. My neighbors are saying this. But no, you have to accept it as pressure, where I tend to see it as an opportunity. Opportunity mindset. This is an opportunity for me to go to school. This is an opportunity for me to make more money. This is an opportunity for me to learn. If you keep it an opportunity, you get to shape the narrative that's in your brain. Taking that level of stress that I got to make money and the family, that's not your responsibility, even though it may feel like it is. Okay? So moving on. So with that, I want to give you a little exercise. It's a grounding technique. I call it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right? That's also a way to kind of count down if you're angry. If some of you deal with anger and you like chef, sometimes when I argue with my parents or when I argue with people out in the streets, I just see red. I get very angry, right? I can't control my anger. Don't ever say that. This is your body. You can control anything with your mind. I just get angry though. All right. So something that I do, can I tell you how I messed up $17,000? I had a client, and long story short, it was a big client. And they said to me, we were going back and forth in negotiating what my fees was. Sometimes and you'll learn as you learn in different things because we're multifaceted people. So you may be a coder, you may also be somebody who writes code, but you also may be somebody who does logos. You may be somebody who does graphic art. You know, it can be the full breadth of what you do. But sometimes when you go into the job market, people only try to pay you for one. And I was very clear that if you come to me as a chef, there are other things that I do. Catering is a different thing. Bringing a band, because I sing, and sing with a band is different. You wanted me to come and be a motivational speaker. That's a different thing. Those are like 5, 6, and people would try to pay me as your chef. And when you come, you should come and sing and do this and that. And I'm just like, all right, I have to charge for that because those are different things. This particular client went on to tell me what my worth was. This is what we paid. This is what we Googled about celebrity chefs. This is what you paid, da, da, da. And I got very angry because who are you to tell me what I'm worth? You can tell me that you're not willing to pay my rate. That's fine, because that's based off of your budget. But you don't get to tell me what I'm worth to the market, right? So I get on my email. First of all, you should never do that. Why? Because I read her email and I was angry. Blah, 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 blah. This is what food costs right now. Eggs cost $10. You want me to cater for 150 people where we already discussed. I was just giving samples of food. Now you want me to cook for 150 people. Now you're in my catering area, not my chef area. Long story short, I sent the email in my angry tone and I regretted it as soon as I hit send. I regretted it. You should never answer emails. You should never respond out of anger. Even though my cause was just, the way that I said it, I know I came across anger and I lost the client. And there are going to be times as you learn how to manage stress that you're going to make some mistakes, right? Give yourself grace, breathe, and say, what can I learn from this situation? How was my body feeling when this person told me that this was my worth based off of where I am and who I am? What did I feel in my body? Oh, okay, I'll be honest with you. What I felt was, as a Black man in America, sometimes people try to make me feel small based off of, how dare you ask for $17,000? Who do you think you are? Well, I went to school, 4 years of culinary training. I'm a chef. I've managed teams. I have partnerships. This is who I think I am. If you don't want to pay that, fine. But again, don't belittle me in it. And so what I found out within myself, and you'll do this again, is some of your family trauma, right? It's in there. Even though you grew up, it's still in there. And I had feelings around someone telling me who I was based off of where I came from. And sometimes when we're working and negotiating contracts or meeting people, we bring our trauma to the situation. And so that was an opportunity for me to go inside and figure out, all right, how do I heal this trauma of worthiness, right? And so I did that work, and it looks different for everybody. But the work for me started with a little piece of paper on my medicine cabinet that says, you are worthy. You are worthy. You had to reprogram my mind over and over again. I'm worthy. I'm not saying I'm not going to make that mistake again, but it won't be the same way. It takes a practice. So even a simple posting or a note on your phone to give you confirmation about who you are, because the world is going to keep trying to tell you who you are. And you have to come back to center. This is who I am. This is what I'm worth. This is the company that I want to work with. And this is my worth for that on a pay scale, and know what that is. You may not always get that, but if you think you're worth 20,000, it's not just about somebody giving you 20,000. It's about doing the work for a $20,000 mindset. Yeah. So when I talk about the exercise 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I want you to notice 5 things you see when you're stressed. What are you seeing? Is it people? Is it a crowd? Is it a family situation? Is it danger in the environment? What are those 5 things that you see? Then what are the 4 things that you feel in that environment? Do you feel sad? Do you feel happy? Do you feel excited? Do you feel anger? So what are the feelings that you're having in that situation? And then 2, I want you to notice 2 things that you hear. Is it loud? Is it quiet? And then 1, is it possible, what do you taste? Sometimes you could be in a restaurant or family, and if you can get that last one, what it tastes. Though that level of awareness says two things. One, this environment stresses me out. I see people fighting. I see crowds. I see smoke. I see da da da. I'm going to pull myself out of this situation. Right? That's the five things that you see. The next thing would be what are the four things that you feel? This environment makes me sad. This environment. So what I can do with sadness. So if I'm at home, let's be real, and the situation makes me sad, can I put my shoes on and walk to a park? And where there are trees or a water fountain or a forest, any kind of environmental place, is there two houses that together that you can dream of having you live there one day? And you just sit there and you meditate on it. I love this house so much. I love how they put the flowers outside the house. I love how they got the drapes. I like the fabric. And you just put yourself in a place of joy. And then smells. Smells are very important to me, right? So I can't be in an environment where the smells are very pungent. I'm just not very comfortable, right? Whatever that smell is for you. And I definitely don't eat food that doesn't taste good to me, right? So if you're being served food at dinner times, if you can help it, and you just have yourself something sweet or something, now you associate dinner with a little piece of chocolate. You associate dinner with a reward. You associate dinner with something that brings you peace. You see where I'm going with that? So when I didn't have any money to buy the food that I wanted, and I had to eat the food that my mother fed me, I always tried to find something that made me feel good. Yes, I should share with you that I was 100 pounds overweight. I lost 100 pounds 20 years ago. I've kept the weight off for almost 15, 16 years. So I know that my trigger is ice cream. I can eat ice cream and french fries every day. Every day. I'm not kidding. I can eat it every day. Now I notice that it's a trigger for me. So, yes, I could have it as a treat, but when it shows up in my diet on Monday, then I go out and get some ice cream on Wednesday, telling myself, oh, it's okay. And then Friday night, when I'm alone, loneliness, we can talk about that for a second. I feel lonely. I live by myself and I don't have a family. So, without realizing, when I watch TV, I eat ice cream, and it's a source of making myself feel comfort. And so I started to say, all right, Kenny, maybe when you're watching TV that you have a bowl of grapes and tangerines and oranges. So the moment is, yes, on a physical level, I need to feed myself something sweet, but I can get to choose the sweet. Do you understand? It doesn't have to be Ben and Jerry's ice cream. All right. So be mindful of that, because there are some real implications of blood sugar levels, diabetes, and traumas if we're not mindful about what we're eating. All right. So do this for me. Close your eyes, everybody, we're going to do this for like 15 seconds. And I want you to picture your walk to class or to home or your commute. I want you to think about that right now. Where do you feel the tension in your body? When you imagine it, is it in your shoulders? Is it in your jaw? Is it in your stomach? Where is that tension showing up? I, for one, like to use stress as a sign more than something that's happening to me. It's an opportunity to figure out the environment and how it's making you feel, right? It's a sign. Oh, I feel stressed. I'm so tired. I don't know what to do. Everything is frustrating me. Everything is coming at me at once. All of that tension, you're taking it on the inside. You're taking it in, right? But if you just close your eyes in those stressful moments and say, where is the stress showing up? For me, it always shows up in my shoulders first. I don't know why. It shows up in my shoulders first, my neck second, and then my stomach. That's where it shows up for me. You should know where stress shows up for you. Do you get headaches? Does your shoulder hurt? Is it in your jawline? Do you bite down? Are you angry? Is it in your stomach? Knowing where that stress hits you, you have found what the trigger is. right? Say trigger. And then you can do the appropriate response to it. Oh, it's in my shoulders. For me, I got one of those machines, and I do that, and I get it out of my shoulders, right? If I have headaches, I drink water, then I do my breathing exercise. I call it, 4, 4, 6. Take in a breath for 4, hold it for 4 beats, let it out for 6. The first thing that it really does, it brings you to yourself, right? Because if you're on the streets and you stress, you feel like everything is coming at you. I just looked at my arms. It's good. So when you stress, it feels like that. Right? You get to control it. That breathing exercise. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right? Figure out 5 things you see, 4 things that you hear, 2 things that you can. Did I say that right? Yeah. 2 things that you can taste. 1 thing that you can taste, and 2 things that you can hear. So you kind of have this practice, and then you breathe. All right. Awareness is the first step, y'all. Awareness is the first step. I want to give you a call to action. Really is about figuring out what's a worthy goal to you. I said that's a strange place to talk about stress, Kenny. You should be giving me some signs of what other people can do and what environments I could take myself out of. And we talked about a little bit about walking on the streets and being aware of your triggers, right? Those are kind of observations. But the thing I can really tell you, and I want to leave you with, is that a lot of times when we are stressed in our spirit, it's because I'm gonna give you 2 ways. I didn't know I was gonna go here, but I'm gonna go here. Then I'm gonna show you a little something. Um, is that we are stressed out about what we thought our life was going to be. Yeah. Um, we didn't imagine the number of kids that we have. Maybe we did. But it's one thing in wanting kids, and it's another thing in managing having kids, right? So it's one thing about wanting to finish your degree or go to school. It's another thing to manage the process of going to school, right? It's one thing to say I want to lose 15 pounds. It's another thing of managing the stress that comes with losing 15 pounds. You understand what I'm saying? So always remember that once you choose the response, let me go back to your life. I I kept saying by 20, I want to do this. By 30, I should be doing this. By 40, I definitely should be here. By 50, I should know what I'm doing. Right? Who told you that? It's nothing wrong with having goals. It's nothing wrong with having ideals about what you think your life should be. You definitely need that. You need that North Star kind of taking you everywhere you want to go. I'll use me as an example. I had this idea of a celebrity chef would have this much money. I should be on this many shows. I should be getting my rate at this. And I had all these levels. I should be on Food Network. This is what a celebrity chef looks like. And I wasn't grateful for the stuff that I did have, right? This opportunity here with you. Who's to say that this isn't a level of success, right? So I really want you to start to imagine your life being grateful first about what you have, even if you feel like it isn't much. There's somebody off that's worse off than you. I know you may not believe that, but it's true, right? And then the next thing is to create the environment, the ecosystem for what you want. And it may not be perfect, right? Um, and then set yourself for what success looks like. This is all from the inside. You get to manage this. And I can say, even me, Dr. Ajay, and everything, one of the biggest things in my life at 50 that I have learned is that it isn't about the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you the vibration that you're working on. And I've had opportunities, even from school, having a teacher in my English class read one of my papers and say, Kenny, you're such a good writer, but there's a lot of mistakes in the spelling of what you're doing. I'm dyslexic. And I took that first year of school to realize, okay, I love learning, I love education, but there's something going on in my brain, right? So I went and got tested, and he confirmed I'm dyslexic. And it's like it took a weight off my shoulder because I thought I was dumb. I was like, information doesn't stay with me long. I can't remember quotes like people do. I misspell stuff and it looks right to me before I send in the paper. And then when I get the paper back, it got a whole bunch of red ink on it about spelling and everything. It used to drive me crazy because honestly, I would not turn in a paper if I didn't think it was spelled right, but it looks right to me. And so what I've learned in education is for me, I have to write something out on the computer, then I have to write it on paper, then I have to make an audio of something. I get my note section and I record myself saying something or something I need to hear. And then it sticks with me because I learned how to learn. Does that make sense? I learned how to learn. And I'm smart. And so if you would have told me that I'd be writing books, working on my third book, I would have laughed at y'all. I would have laughed. Me write a book? It's hard for me to come to the, I don't even know what a paragraph is. You talk about writing a whole book. But because I started slowly, I used to hate sending emails. It would take me like 20 minutes to send a simple email because I didn't want somebody on the office side to think I was dumb. So I would have my mother check the spelling and my best friend. It was just like, it was horrible. So the fact now that I can write proposals and write books, that is a matter of centering myself and getting the proper education for what comes next. My stress level went down. I don't need food to fill me up now. You know what I mean? I fill myself up. And it's a balancing act. I just want to leave you with this. I don't know, I've been talking, Doc, you saved me on time. But one of the things my first book, I was so proud of it. It took me about 3 years to write this. The other ones came way faster because once you learn the first one, you can kind of know what you're doing. But one of the things I learned about food was, and you may be learning in your data or what you're doing, how we can be in something, call something, but we don't know the definition of it. So when I think about food, I'm hungry. I was in culinary school. I'm cooking it. But what is food? So I just want to read this really quickly. Food is a material consisting essentially of protein, carbohydrates, and a fat used in the body of an organism to sustain growth, repair, and vital processes to furnish energy. Nowhere in there did it say ice cream and french fries and 4 chicken wings to comfort me. I share that with you because having a definition of what stress is, their triggers and their responses. That's it. I know you may add stuff to it. I'm getting stressed from my mom, getting stressed from school. Those are things, but what it really is stresses, triggers, and responses. And once you really kind of know that, you can say, I can walk through the streets, I can be in my family and understand the triggers, but I get to choose how to respond. I want you to choose your responses wisely because this responses is ultimately making up your character and who you are. Thank you.
That is awesome, 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 and fantastic. Okay. So, first of all the best for your coming up book and your TV
Mm-hmm.
show. And yeah, yeah, all best wishes from SARA team for this. And right now we have two students with us. One name is Akanksha, one name is Achal, and they both studied with us. And if they have any question, either they can speak or they can put in the chat box. Right. So that's fantastic, So and and as a teacher is a huge learning for me as well. So, and thank you so much for this, Chef Ken. And really, we learned a lot from you. So let's have a few seconds of little relax. And in between, somebody has a question, then we'll take a questions. Yes.
Okay, sounds good. I'm here.
And I will also find out questions came by email. So one person had sent me on email like questions. So let me take up that. And Okay, so let me see. Where is it? Yes, I got it. So, because I asked that person to be anonymous, so the person is anonymous. So I will just read out the questions for you, and
Mhm.
and you just see how much we can answer that. Okay. Let's
Okay.
take just a few second break, so you can also, we can do something.
Thank you. T.
Yep. Yep. Okay, let's back. So the question is from this person. This question came by email. So the question is, why is it that love is something more approachable and achievable by extrovert people rather than introverts? So that is a question. So, right.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
then continuing to this, how introverts can overcome this problem of lagging behind. So that is the first question. And shall I say the second question also, or first you want to answer this?
Yeah, let me answer the first one and bring back the second one. What's the first question once more?
Yeah. Why is it he wants to know, he thinks that extroverts are more successful lovers than introverts. So he just want to understand that. And how
Right.
introverts can come out of this.
Yes, I am an introvert, believe it or not, who has extrovert tendencies. And what that means is introverts require a lot of time alone. We thrive in that. We recharge in that. And when I'm an extrovert is when I'm doing what I'm doing now, or sometimes I have events and I have to be the chef and I have to shake hands and I have to sign books. And when I come home, I just crash. And for a while, I didn't know what that was. I thought I didn't like people. For example, people would try to follow up with me and say, "Hey, we loved your talk. Let's go out to dinner. We have a few friends in that." And I'd be like, I didn't feel like doing that. And so when we come to, it's just really about knowing your strengths. So, for example, I think the question was about love. Um, you there's some science in the sense of belief of attracting your opposite. Like if you're an introvert, you kind of like somebody who's more outgoing, who has some of the same traits. When we're talking about love, there are too many variables for me to talk about, but I can say about how we approach it. And I'll tell you, for me, being an introvert, I don't make the first move. I can count on my hand how many times I did the first move. Even on social media, texting somebody, great picture. I just don't do that. I usually do well with responding. And that's okay too, right? But the first thing is putting yourself out there. So I have a page. I have work that I'm working on and sharing what I love, the work that I love, the people that I love, and the things I love to do. If you show the things that you love, somebody will see the love in that, rather you're introvert or extrovert, and that is what they'll really connect to.
Thank you. Thank you. Next question is related to the technology and loneliness. And the question goes like this. Loneliness and individualism is increasing in the vicinity of technological extended self and leading youth towards mental depression, right? And he has written in the bracket, again, a belief of mine. How youth can overcome it? What structural changes can help us to mitigate this issue from the root cause?
Hmm. The root cause of loneliness is connection. That's the root cause. So the question to ask yourself is, how can I show up and connect with other people? And I'm of a different generation, so I have a source of references in my memory senses that I can connect to. Right, I know what it felt like before social media came along. Right before technology took over, I have a point of reference of playing outside in the streets and making real friends. And my mother making me go to church, youth meetings, singing in the choir. All of those things is how I built up how I made friends. Now that this youth, if you've only known technology, you know what I mean, then you can create safeguards for yourself. One is when it comes to technology, I know it seems funny, but to limit how much time you are in front of technology. I was at a dinner yesterday out with friends, and there were six of us, and five of them, in between asking questions or making an order, were on their phone. And I asked everybody, put your phone down because we all agreed to be here, six of us. Why is everybody on their phone? And so it's just that mindfulness about whenever technology impedes on my presence, I don't want that to happen, right? I'm going to be watching TV. When it goes to commercial, I put it on mute and then I go to Instagram. And then when the TV, my show come back on, you know how much stimulation that is, y'all? It's. I'm not saying this. It's too much stimulation. It's too much stimulation. There's a study that was out that technically the human mind was only able to connect with about 150 people in total. The people in your family, the people in your town or city. The outside of that, that was about it. That's how we can. Now we got news 24/7. We got updates 24/7. We have the phone telling us, hey, somebody just did this or somebody's going live. So you always need this trigger of a dopamine going on. So for me, if I'm answering your question right, I created, and I'm going harder in it. I'm like, I practice it. Sunday is my day with no technology. Choose a day where technology, I know the thing that you love, the thing that you're studying, the thing that keeps you connected. You have to choose a day to disconnect from it. It's such a blessing. And I'll go back on a social while for the love part and being an introvert and extrovert. When I go to parties and I'm not working, I usually find a corner and I'm kind of by myself. People are like, you just don't seem like an introvert, but I am when I'm not being Chef Kenny. You know what I mean? So I am. So one of the things that I do when I'm invited to parties, even when I'm asked not to, is that I used to be a bartender, so I usually stand by the drinks if it's a self serve, and I would make drinks for people as they came over, and I would suggest what they should drink, and then I would just stand there, and that way I would meet each person as they came to get something to drink, and how you doing, and da da da. You got to choose something that pulls you outside of yourself. Or I used to make sure if it was people coats, I would take their coats when they came through the door. That way I got to meet people and everything. Remember, okay? Because once I recognized what the trigger was, which is loneliness, once I chose the trigger that I'm at home and I'm alone and I'm lonely, how do I fix this? And really the answer is connection first. First connection to your dream or your vision. It's kind of hard to feel lonely if you're reading a book about the thing that you want to be. Next, a human person. Go out on the street, sit out on the stoop, go to a community meeting, go to a prayer for prayer. Go out, you know what I mean? And then understand, ask yourself, what type of loneliness am I feeling?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got one more question. I'm not going to say the name. I'm just going to read it. And it goes like this. Hello, thank you for this wonderful session. I have noticed that sometimes a little bit of stress helps me stay focused and productive. But too much stress makes me feel stuck. So my question is, how can we identify and maintain the balance between healthy stress and harmful stress in our daily life? And next line. And what are some simple techniques we can practice every day to manage stress, especially for students and working professionals? Few of them you have already shared, few tips and tricks, but still, if something more, you can just share. Yeah.
Good stress or bad stress. I tend to think that it's based off of, at its core, expectations, right? So the reason why that good stress from working or fulfilling something that we want to do, I think it comes because we think very simply that we can get the task done. So it's joyful to us. I do, for example, in the morning, I found myself doing posting on social media with captions because that was easier for me to do. So I could do that. But I found it stressful to make cold calls, calling people, asking them about my service. Do they need my service? I had some tension about that. So I would do things that I like to do: social media, posting things, getting inspirational quotes. Nothing is bad about that, but that ain't gonna bring me no money in. All right, which is one of the things I'm stressful about. And then the things that will move my life forward, like cold calls or getting on Instagram and introducing myself to people and what my services are, going out to network opportunities. That was stressful. It was stressful because I didn't think I could do the task. So that was the level of stress. Not that that situation is stressful. And some people love doing those things, going out networking and emailing people, telling them what they service because they feel like they have something that the client needs. So that's not stressful. So our framing of what's stressful is the first thing that I address. All right. So when you do feel the real stress, as you say, I talked about figure out where it is in your body. The next thing is your response. How do you respond to it? Because just awareness without an action doesn't get you anywhere. So what's the action you're taking when you are feeling stress? That is my best answer to you. So when I feel stressed at work, I'll get up, I'll take a break if you can, and I'll go walk around the perimeter of the office. And maybe just going to get a cup of coffee with somebody and having a human conversation, you know, release some of the stress. So when you sit back at your desk, you're a different person. So recognizing what the stress is, having an appropriate response to an action. Some people just say, I just been so stressed all week. I got the kids. I got to go grocery shopping. I'm tired. I haven't been sleeping well. Everything's just coming at me and I'm just so stressed. And I call it, and I'm giving that because this is in my new book. I call it dot, dot, dot. I wait for, and whenever a person is like, my relationship's not working out, I'm not eating well, I wait for, okay, so what's the action? And if I don't hear action after you, anybody can describe what's wrong with them. Doc, my shoulder hurt. Doc, my stomach hurt when I do it. All right, so what's the action you're taking? Well, one thing I write down in a book when all these things are happening so I can see how often it's coming up in the week. So I can tell you when you ask me, so how long has this been going on? I have a real time. And here are the days that I've been stressful like this. You got to have real information. You're in the data thing. Data, I think I saw your thing. We said data is power. Data is power, right? And this is another one I want to share with you on the last one. It's one of my stickies. I told you I love stickies. This one I had to write down to be a little vulnerable with you. I noticed when I was in relationships with a loving partner that when I didn't hear from them from a certain amount of time, I would start to feel stress. What are they doing? Where they are? Do they love me? And I would create this narrative in my head about what was going on. And I noticed when my partner would call and say, "Hey, sorry, I was with my mom. You remember that talk I told you about? We just got it done." I would relieve because now I had more information, and you know what I mean. But then I said, "What responsibility do I have to manage myself in a relationship?" Going back to love, and I wrote this down when I started to feel anxiety about it. Your feelings aren't real. Collect data points, add experience together with the desired goal. Start there. And I had to write that down.
Will you
Your
please repeat
feelings,
this? Yeah, please repeat this. That's quite
Your
interesting.
feelings aren't real.
Mhm.
Collect data points, add experience together with the desired goal. Start there.
Yeah.
So my feelings about my anxiety about what they're doing, that's not real, right? So what are the data points? We talked at 11 o'clock. They told me they will call at 1 o'clock. Data points. So anything after 1 o'clock, I can call and check in. And then what's the desired goal? I want to be in a loving relationship. I want to be in a relationship where I don't feel anxiety or accuse my partner of things that's not true. I want to be on a job that's fulfilling. I don't want to bring stress to my job. That's my desired goal, is to be happy. And if that's my desired goal, to be happy, then my feelings really don't matter in this point. It's about putting data points in that makes me happy. So what happened is, if I talk to my partner at 1 o'clock at lunchtime, the anxiety goes away about connection. It really is about connection, right? What's the experience I want to have? When my partner calls, I want to be in a good mood. And so if I let myself feel all this anxiety and stress about I haven't heard from you, when they call, the first 5 minutes, I got an attitude on the phone because I want them to tell me where they've been and what they've been doing. That's not how you keep a partnership, right? And then the next thing is, what's the desired goal? To be in a loving relationship where I feel connected. So if that's the desired goal, I don't want to put any situation that breaks connection. Fear, anxiety breaks connection, right? So yeah. So those are kind of things you can just ask yourself. Again, trigger and response. If you don't get nothing else, trigger and response.
Thank you.
Trigger
So
and
we
response.
got one
Yeah.
more message.
Okay.
Thank you for this insightful session. It was really helpful and easy to understand. So, okay, this is a compliment. So, yes, we all are very, very thankful to you. Okay, I will just take 2, 3 minutes more of your time.
Yeah.
See, we both, see, all 6 people we are here in this session, we come from first generation students. We all are first generation college students, and we all come from marginalized communities. Like you come from the black community, and we all, my students and Dr. Kiran, myself, we come from who are considered as untouchables in India.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's the first time, we are getting education, and but every time we always feel, and it is a kind of a stress when we go to institutions, that we are entering to some other person's space. Society doesn't accept it so easily. Forget about the success, though, they won't accept. They just say you got success because of affirmative actions of the
Yeah.
policies. So,
Yes.
and that is also indirectly a sort of a stress upon the
Yes.
student. Yeah, even you become a, people don't respect your idea because they see from the idea, from where the idea is coming. And that was for me. And I will edit out all this part from the main session, this talking and all, right? But when I was working for around 2.5 years as a professor, for me, one thing was triggering again and again, was that they did not respect my idea,
Mm-hmm.
because they know what is my background is, and then they themselves put that idea in front of the higher authorities, saying it is their own idea. So that is a
Mm-hmm.
lot of what do you say, not a freedom of thought. As a first generation professional, professor, or a student, when you get that freedom of ideas, acceptance during the organization or in the class or in the university, and that creates a stress actually. If you can
Mm-hmm.
share 2, 3 minutes how to deal with that, because you are definitely very, very successful person with going to the TV shows, writing books, and managing your life successfully. How did you manage that? Because I'm sure in West also, this question is always come for the blacks, ki you got everything just because of the affirmative actions and not because of your talent. So
Yes.
how do you manage that stress? If you
Yes.
take
Great
two, three
question.
minutes more, please.
I'll take it from the corporate stand because I was in corporate before. I was a business manager for a large neurology practice, and I was very happy about that job because it was a great salary. And this was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It was a great salary then. But I started to learn you got to figure out how can I put this? How the world sees you is a pro and a con, right? So in this particular instance, I learned once I got there at this job that because I was black, so it worked for me here. Because I was black, they wanted me to manage the black people. All my bosses were white and Jewish. So they, in essence, hired me because I was black to manage the black people. So in that particular instance, it was good in that sense, right? Because you got to take the good with the bad. I'm keeping very simple thing, good with the bad. But I did notice when I was to present my ideas on writing a manual book for operations or doing something that was outside of my preview, that it was met with good idea, but we got somebody else handling that. Oh, good idea. Send me an email with some bullet points and we'll think on it. It was never met with this level of tell me more. That's a good idea. You've been, so I had to learn that for one, and you may not always be able to do this, but why I have thrived, and it comes with its own cost, Doc, is that I had to pull myself out of an environment where somebody else had to validate my work. You understand? If I go to a big publishing company and they tell me I need 100,000 subscribers before I write a book, that's their data point for what they need. And that's great. I can't argue with that. But it doesn't stop me from writing a book. Do you understand what I'm saying? So my stress level isn't about they won't give me an opportunity to get published, or have my data or my research acclimated into their curriculum, their systems. But it doesn't stop you from writing a book about your circumstances, your information, your research. You understand? And though it in its weight may not be as prestigious coming from the backing of the faculty, however, you stand on your own. You're your own person, your own ideas. The affirmative action in America has reached top because now it's coming from the top. At first, it was in the environment, but when you have a president, and I won't get political, who is saying DEI is a problem, which in essence saying color is a problem. Color is less than. Anything that doesn't look like us is less than. When you have a Smithsonian and an African American Institute and Museum, and he says there's too much slavery information. Mm-hmm. So now he's undermining your experience and your history of your people. That can make you begin to feel small when you go into these settings. And now it's permeating through the community of DEI hire. You coming through the door with that kind of energy. It takes a strong mind to be successful.
It is. And thank you so much. And that is where I think 2 years back we started this institute so that we can teach to the students coding, and where they do not feel discriminated, they do not feel low, and they actually understand their worth and the worth of their dreams, their ideas, and without any discrimination. So, and thank you, Chef Ken. We are very, very honored to have you. I personally learned a lot from you, and definitely we will invite you once again. We'll trouble you more in the future now to take more session for us and learn more from you. So thank you so much and have a great day to you.
Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for being here. Stay grateful.